Sienna God, hello, good afternoon, Wado. Thank you for watching. This is day 38, part B of reading Lone Wolf Alpha Squad, copy over by James Rank. And I'm sorry I had to cut the other one short because our daughter called. So she takes precedence over reading this stuff in general, but let alone reading it to y'all. Anyway, these are James's experiences. I'm going to reread the last sentence where I left off. They would prep me for missions dependent on the substances injected into the bubbles. It could affect my muscles, heart, hearing, etc., dependent on the type of dimension, portals, or teleportation encountered. Even though my clones were used for evil, I remain on the opposition side. They reactivated me recently, and I am spreading this information from consciousness to consciousness and mind to mind. Inside me is a biological radar which goes beyond the universe. I refuse to be a cyborg. They try to replace me organ by organ. It would be unsafe for me to connect to you, James Rank, this way. The memories are not gone. They hidden away due to the edema of your trauma. Right now, you are unable to remember me because they blind you by spreading memories within your different clone bodies, and the subconscious doesn't have a way to share it with your physical mind. Also, the Mater's energy could contaminate your energy sphere. If you think of me, I can give you memories, I can give you pictures and slides, and you can unpack it as a file in your head. Huh. My dad always referred to memory as files. And he's like, hey God, wait a minute. Let me open up that filing cabinet and find that file. Anyway, the end of this experience will all be positive. In the future, Mars will be terraformed and covered in trees, bushes, and blue sky. People from planet Earth will be able to travel there anytime they want, just like going to a museum. Huh. Once nature takes over, those nasty AI-controlled giant spiders will not even want to come on the surface, and eventually they will become extinct. Technology will be released, allowing you to connect and travel to other parallel lives and realities. You will be able to travel in flying cars, and children can travel in flying white transparent bubbles. Wow. People on the street will not even touch the ground, and the street itself will look like a biological field. That's nice. Return stuff back to nature. I like that. Oh, nature calls me, and I'm allergic to everything. I love nature so much. The feeling I get there, I just like no other. Hearing the wind in the trees and stuff. Oh my God. I mean, come on. The energy and everything, like where there aren't a lot of buildings, I'm talking about, okay? Where you look around, you don't see a building. That's my kind of stuff. Anyways, and that's end quote. So here's a picture of Hobie Baker, and then Klaus Van Buren, and then John Simmons. All have James's DNA. And let me see. I'm gonna see, because there's another photo here. Let's see if this is gonna be James, because it's kind of hard to tell them apart. Anyway, so here's Hobie Baker right there, and then Klaus Van Buren, and then John Simmons. And then is that James Rank? Not sure. Let's find out. John Simmons. According to Peter, the Insider's Wisdomers, yeah, I said it right. Another Project Surrogate alternate version of myself is John Simmons. He worked for BOC Black Ops Corporation in the 1960s to 1980s. So that's James Rank at the bottom then, because that's too modern of a photo anyway. And was part of a special military unit working for DOD and later DARPA. In 2017, Simmons, I was gonna say James. Anyway, James Simmons. It's John Simmons teleported. So it says, in 2017, Simmons teleported and gifted me a Sidney Crosby hockey stick from 2014 to 2017, as shown here on SS Talk. What the what? No way. That's insane. Cool. Insanely cool. So here's the hockey stick that he was given by John Simmons, who teleported to give him that. Shut the front door. Montauk's alien boy. 23% of all trauma I incurred was from the 43 years I spent in Montauk, which was an experiment to enhance consciousness for both physical time travel and matter manifestations. According to ACIO records, I was recruited into Montauk in a honey trap by my handler Julia Kowalski, Kowalski, and Janet Shaw, SHAW. During this time, I would be age regressed over and over to keep me between the ages of 7 and 9, then to 13 and jump back. I was known as Arthur, Henry, Jemmy the Elf, due to my elfish look, and sometimes they would call me Alien Boy because I would channel in an Andromedan language. I had blonde hair and these big Pleiadian eyes. I was a very shy child that spent years in a long hallway room with hundreds of cages where they would keep kids like me locked inside. I think Nathan was in a cage next to me. The room we were being held had water on the ground, and there was black and white Nazi flags hanging from the walls that had a red stripe going down them. Everything else was green. The room was always cold, and as if I wasn't cold enough, they would throw cold water on me in my cage. They took us to an old castle in Austria. Below it is a tunnel connected to a military dome that had portal technology. It was connected to other domes by a capsule type train with gray tainted windows. It says tainted, literally, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be tinted windows. I was in a group of 6 kids with special abilities. This group was the strongest potential to become super soldiers in the battlefield. They would take away groups of 2 until 1 child was left. Soldiers in light brown camo with a patch in the shape of a red triangle with a sword blade pointed down and eagle wings that formed another triangle shape would escort us to square cages. Inside my cage was a female wolf which recently had puppies that were taken away from her. She would take me on as her own puppy, and I would connect with her telepathically, and she would impart specific knowledge of the animals on Earth. Wow. They also put other animals in the cage, such as snakes, lions, panthers. I would stare at them, and I can hypnotize them. Gloria Vanderbilt. In another of my Montauk experiences, I was sent back in time to a castle, not sure if it was the same one in Austria. There were toys on the ground, and I was instructed to choose a toy. And I chose this rope toy. My handlers were very pleased. I did that because that was a toy I played with when I was Daniel Payseur, Payseur. And do you know that in the Buddhist religion or whatever, I think I'm saying that correctly, like I think I'm remembering properly, when they choose the next like person that's supposed to be like a higher up or whatever, they look for the reincarnated person, and they sit these kids out and they test them with these toys. They have them pick these toys, and they're like, oh my gosh, that is the toy that such and such used. Now let's study them further. I saw a thing on it where there was this boy that they determined, and he was in the US. They determined that he was a reincarnation of somebody else, and they brought him over. And then of course the whole formality started where his mom, you know, was more like an assistant to him, and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know if he could touch the floor at the time. I don't remember if I'm like crossing over 2 different religions or whatever, but yeah, she was no longer, like, he was no longer allowed to play outside and do all those things. And he was like, I don't know, I feel like he was 10 or 12 or something. So he had already been like on a soccer team or something. And then he was to go do this other life now. Anyway, yeah, that's what that made me think of. The Payseurs owned all the railroads. They owned most of the United States and Canada. It says Candan, C-A-N-D-A-N. Must be a typo. They hired people who are names you think are rich and power Illuminati members, but most of them are just crooks that stole their fortunes from the Payseurs. Oh my gosh, shut up. Cornelius, Vanderbilt worked for the Payseurs. His granddaughter, Gloria Vanderbilt, got her hands on me for a weekend when I was about 8 years old. She takes on a lot of kids and passes them off to others. What? She has a vampire energy, and her children consider her a mother in the realm of darkness. She is tasked with blessing newcomers with her body and blackness and a ritualistic behavior without obvious intentions. What? Her eyes are what made you afraid of her. She has the energy of a slimy snake type of feeling. Her shoulders are very pointed. She probably is connected to ancient cults which worship and revere snakes, and would sometimes hold a skull in her hands. She would hang me upside in her private bedroom and would stimulate me, and then she would cut my chest with a sickle. What? With blood dripping down me, your mind starts to lose control of your body, and it creates a free fall feeling. I'm afraid, yet I feel good from the stimulation. It's just pure confusion. She is proud she made such an impact on me. She calls her time with me a game, and she thinks she has given me a blessing. What? Life at Montauk. In the early years at Montauk, they would give us a dog bowl and feed us dog food laced with dried blood and severed fingers and eyeballs. What? Years later, life would improve for us slightly when we would be given meals in our lunch bags with this pill that looked like red candy. It contained drugs and biobots designed to make you complacent and erase your memories of what was going on. You had to take it because they would check our blood levels, and if you didn't take it, you would be punished. Man, there's so many like movies and stuff about the pill, right? Sometimes Preston Nichols would call us stupid and ask us if we want to be stupid like his dog, which was also named Stupid, okay? If we went into fear mode, the Dracos would attack us and eat the kids. Oh my God. They would inject us with adrenaline and put us in a pit of lions trained to kill people that are fearful. The lions would come up to us and sniff us. I didn't get eaten, but I can't say that was the same for others. They would force us to walk into crocodile pits, but we would levitate over them. They would also do child hunting parties, mostly with black kids, which happened at the Burnworthy, Burnworthy Manor in the UK. Y'all need to look that place up. In that event, Jacob Rothschild would keep my clone on his bed, but the others weren't as lucky as me. Oh my God. They would burn us, electrocute our genitals, stick needles under nails, x-ray us, and hang us on meat hooks. What? The hooks look like Donatello's bow staff with a double hook at the end. The hook goes into the back through the shoulder blades, going through the skin, not muscle. This pole would then be pulled away, stretching the legs to cause extreme pain and trauma. Some kids would try to escape, but they had green night vision and we could never get away. Some were able to get away by jumping through mirrors. Even more would get lost in the time tunnels. Nearby was a slave labor camp where they would force children to collect pallets from under a bunker, and lizard guys were driving around in a Jeep. They had a hard time not trying to eat the children. What? Our Montauk experiences occurred in a fractal bubble reality outside of time. This is why they didn't care about us being above ground or trying to escape. Sometimes they would do ritual sacrifice on us, and after we died, we would be put into the regen tank to have it done to us over and over again. Man, the Draco told us our parents hated us, that we were batteries, and we would be forced to bow on the red carpet to the Draco Prince every day. What? We were forced into black mass rituals in which they would take this square open box, and the Draco Prince would use his black fingernail to cut your blood and mix it with his in the bowl. Oh my God, that makes me think of those vampire movies, or whatever that other movie was where they put some stuff in there and mixed it up in a bowl. You would make an upside down cross, and then they would stare at you in a confession slot booth to bond our PSI to the Draco. The Draco who did this to us was inhabited by one of the lower level minions from hell, and was hoping these sessions would help him gain power over some of his superiors during a planned NWO takeover that never happened on this timeline. Whoa. We would also have group sex sessions with other kids. Oh my God. Some of which were Draco, who had shapeshifted into children, and other in order to participate and harness more of our loosh energy. I was also sent back in to be raped by President Lincoln. What the frickin' what? The Draco who did this to us are known as a lowborn Thuban Draco, Thuban Draco. I'm not sure if y'all have read that book about Lincoln being like a vampire hunter, and I wonder if it's like a play on this type of stuff right here. They are a subrace of Draco at the bottom of the food chain in the Orion Empire. Their goal was to use our super psychic powers to help them survive an ascension event, which is happening now. George Bush Sr. shut the front door. Sometimes Bush Sr. would visit us. He was one of the programmers at Montauk. All of his kids were scared of him. Sometimes he would turn into a reptilian and do sex rituals to please the queen. The following is a channeled conversation with Bush Sr. about my time with him. Shut up. He played a big role in the stuff that was going on with Kathy O'Brien. And so if you haven't read her book, you need to read it. Holy moly. In quotes, James, do you remember the conversations we used to have about our projects, technology, and aircraft designs for the U.S. military? Some of the designs you came up with, I sketched them down and rewritten them over again for the U.S. military, and I left it with my brothers and sisters to review it. You are a genius, and I have rewarded you for your work. I have taken you inside my homes in multiple countries, and the secret one in Germany, and the one in Washington, D.C., with the underground bunker for Skull and Bones, shut up, where I would do things on you to split your programming. Oh my God, I'm sorry for what I have done. Before I died, I was fearful of what might happen to my soul after I was judged for everything that I had done for the cabal. I told everything to the Alliance. They executed me for my crimes with a heart attack weapon and used my testimony to indict my friends and family members at my funeral. After I died, the Federation put my memories on a screen. I felt so naked as they revealed what I had done. I am now in the central sun, and judgment has been cast upon me. My fate will be sealed in between dimensions in the phantom zone where there is no escape. I abused you because when I was growing up, my handler did the same to me. Who the heck was his handler? How could I do all these horrible things to you? I'm so sorry. I am trapped here now. We did a lot of rituals on you. We could give you hallucinogens, and you would stare at a screen in front of you in order to split your mind in the middle of an orgy. Jesus. They put devices inside your penis hole, and they monitored your brainwaves while you were tortured. They forced you to have sex with animals, cows, sheep, and dogs. We would strap you to a chair and would program your saber-tooth AI alter to connect with the ships and off-world computers. You were the perfect killing machine. The MIB would use a flashing device on you to wipe your mind of the trauma and bring you back to normal. Oh my gosh, but the body never forgets, right? They would put you back and you look up in the sky and see a light and think it was a UFO and say that was awesome while pointing up. We reversed these memories by figuring out how to edit your mind patterns. We split your mind over and over in a Humpty Dumpty ritual, which is hard because each time you split your consciousness, you had to be shattered multiple times for each of the previous treatments. Preston Nichols was not there in that experiment, but he is one of our reprogrammers. Nichols is Nichols. He is one of our best. Preston would take you places, but he had to be very careful and avoid triggering your alters that we created, as they are very dangerous. Do you remember the time before you were sent to the psych ward? Your alter paralyzed you and you could not move. Eventually the alter would have taken you over. Do you remember the White Mansion? Not the White House, but another private residence. There are pictures of presidents on the wall. There are flags nearby the fireplace. One flag is American and the other was a black flag with 5 white stars and white stripes, which is the American flag, but in an alternate reality in which the USA allied with the Axis powers, AXIS powers. I would sit down there in a suit, top hat, and cane and to read you and 300 other kids in the huge room a book about the wars and what we Nazis had to go through. What? The room looks modern with bright lights and a late 80s look. I also showed you how you are connected to the Bush family. Shut the frickin' front door. I will do all I can to help you get your memories back. You were my easiest programmed good little Montauk boy, and this is not coming out of my butt. I'm telling you the truth. You were the best subject of Project Reject. You were put in there for being so stubborn. We found out your DNA makes you very susceptible for being reprogrammed. Though I am here in this phantom zone, I still have an outsider who can upload your memories back into your implant. After the process is done, you will not be the same. You will be smarter and more cunning and arrogant, just like we made you. You will have the same gifts, but in different ways. You will think different, and people close to you will question, is that really the same person I used to know? Your memories will come back slowly in stages. There is something that was taught to you in your classes that I am trying to recover myself. These classes would teach you physics and sciences that the cabal keeps secret. All right, well, don't go hang, get you in, get your last game till we meet again. Love you, mean it. And that's end quote.